Hey guys, hope everyone's well. This video is from the Free State near Bloemfontein, South Africa. Hoe gaan dit met jou? Ik praat beetje Afrikaans. But yeah, we've been out here for 8 days. We've got another 20 days or so out here, and just been reflecting on some stuff. Just wanted to share with the men who are watching. Today, went hunting, and yeah, shot a buck, and yeah, you get reflecting. You know, it's gets you reflecting on life. Life's so fleeting. One moment you're looking down the scope at something or someone. Next moment, that thing is dead, and that's the end of their life. And it gets you thinking about your own life, about how fleeting life is. You know, it's tomorrow that could be me, or tonight that could be me. I could make this video and be dead in 10 minutes time. And what I don't want to get to at the end of my life, whenever it is, whether it's today, whether it's in 50 years, is sort of being risk adverse, being a wimp, playing everything safely. You know, for example, when my oldest daughter, when she was 9 months old, I quit my job after I left the Marines, doing another job, quit my job, and we went travelling to America. We worked on a ranch out there for 3 months with a guy I'd met out in Afghanistan. And everyone was like, well, you have a 9-month-old and a wife who's a stay-at-home mum. You need a steady job and all this stuff. I was like, freaking screw that. Like, I am miserable in my job. And like, the money means nothing to me. And went away from that experience, and it was great. You know, met new people, new experiences, new culture, learnt new skills. We're building barns and stuff like that. I learnt a lot on that trip. And it's like the money I spent on that trip, I could have put towards a deposit on a house or whatever. And you know, if you want to do that, crack on. But that's not really, I think, this freaking life, this Western culture, it's like, you know, get an education, get a job, save a mortgage, spend the next 50 years paying, or 20 years, 30 years paying that mortgage off, be happy with the pension you get, go into a retirement home, brown bread, dead, great life. It's like, really, there's got to be more to it than this. And yeah, coming out here and just seeing how people live, and you know, people are on nothing out here. 240 quid is how much a worker on the farm around here is earning. And are people in the West happier who are on 100 grand a year? Like, I've worked with a lot of rich people, you know, as a personal trainer, and I can tell you that money means freaking nothing. It might give them a bit of freedom, but it doesn't bring them joy. And the most joyful kids I've ever seen were were in Afghanistan. You give them a chocolate bar, absolutely made up. Come back to England and you got kids sat there scrolling through their iPhone, miserable. So I think we have to think a lot in the West. You know, we live in a messed up society. I'm not saying that Africa is what we should follow, but I think having that simplicity back in your life and actually reevaluating the whole way we live our lives is massive. You know, I think a lot of people, why are a lot of men having absolute breakdowns, midlife crisis in the middle of their life in the West? And it's because they've been sold this absolute lie. You know, you not work hard, but you get an education, or you get a good job, you build yourself up the ladder. When you get to 100, 200 grand a year, whatever, 50 grand a year, 60 grand a year, you get that house, you get that wife, you get those kids, you get that car, you get a season ticket at your favourite club or whatever, you'll be sorted then. You get there and realise it's bullcrap. You know, being a dad's great, being a husband's great, having a good job's great, but those things are not what you should define your life on, in my opinion. I think there's way more to life than that. And actually, when we come out and we take guys out in Scotland and we take guys out into the wilderness, and even to, you know, here we're doing all our meals on the fire and stuff like that, it just brings you back to actual basic human instincts. And you know, it's actually hard. Every meal is hard work. Catching your food is hard work. You know, and actually this brings you quite a lot more satisfaction than just getting a McDonald's, where it's so easy to just drive through. Yeah, can I get a Big Mac, please? Whatever. You eat that food, it does not bring you any joy whatsoever. Whereas, like, when you've had to work for it, and you have to gut it yourself, and you have to skin it, and you know, it takes hours, then there's real satisfaction when you go to eat it. And yeah, man, I think that if you're in this place where you're miserable in Western culture, take a risk. What have you got to lose? What a freaking little paycheck that doesn't make you happy anyway. Who cares? You know. And I think, like, obviously you've got to take calculated risks. You can't just throw everything down the pan and suck everything off. Or maybe you can, but you obviously have to have a calculated risk. But if you're miserable in what you're currently doing, then you need to have a real think about it and be a man of action. And I think as well, to the soldiers and to those wearing the green beret as well, and to those who are defined by their job title or yeah, their rank, or you know, their whatever it is, their pay packet and stuff. If that stuff got taken away from you, what would define you? Would you absolutely fall apart like many men have and will and do? Or have you got something that defines you more? Now for me, it's my faith. You know, I'm defined by my faith. I follow Jesus Christ, and that's a real, that's a rock for me. So it means that if I lose all my fitness, I lose my health, I lose the money, I lose the job, I lose the status and all that stuff. Like, yeah, those things were cool, but that wasn't what defined me. And my faith can't be rocked. You know, I can get bad comments on YouTube, or people can stop talking to me or whatever. Okay, bye. Like, that's a shame, but bye. You know, that's the rock that I built my life on. So, you know, I love fitness. I love having a healthy body and healthy mind and things. But if those things go, that's not the end of my life. That's not what defines me. That's not what will destroy me. I think it's important to have something bigger than that, something bigger than you. You know, a lot of people are like, you are your own God. Well, I'm a very, very crap, rubbish, unpowerful God, if that's the case. And I definitely don't want my life in my own hands and that, or my eternity in my own hands. So yeah, man, but it's good. It's a blessing being out here, you know. It just brings you back to a bit of reality as to how fleeting life is. It's good because that buck that I killed today, I would never just kill an animal and for no reason. I killed an animal once and it didn't get eaten, and you know, I feel guilty to this day and stuff. I never want to make that mistake again. I would always only kill an animal for safety, protection, or to feed people. And so this one today will feed a lot of people, which is great. But yeah, when you stood over a dead carcass that you've just nailed, like, you know, I like to be very respectful of dead animals that I've killed. I mean, there's no joking or anything like that. Yeah, it's important. So yeah, just valuing that, valuing life. Life's fleeting, and it's also sacred. But yeah, man, I think look, we've worked with like 4,000 men over the last like 4 or 5 years, which has been great. And I grew up, I had 3 brothers, played football around lads all the time, boxing gyms, judo, all men, Royal Marines, obviously just thousands and thousands of men, no women. And then coming out, I was like a mentor at Royal Navy's centre, basic training centre, like I can't remember what it's called, but it's at Raleigh, HMS Raleigh. I was helping injured recruits there, mostly men. And then complete Commando, and PTing has been majority men. So I've worked with thousands of men, so I think I'm pretty entitled to be able to speak on mental health and the psychology of men. You know, there's people more qualified than me who've done a uni degree, but they've never actually worked with men before. And so, you know, I'm not professing to be an expert, but I'd like to say my experience is better than a lot of people. And I think what men need is a mission and a purpose. You know, this is one of the issues that guys struggle with in their 20s, 30s. They don't have a mission. They don't have a purpose. It's literally go to work, get home, Xbox, and the mission is on the Xbox, which is a fake mission. You know, that's why lads are addicted to gaming, because it's all mission based. You look at any game that lads play, it's all about mission. It's all about completing tasks and things like that. Because they're escaping from the reality, which the truth is their life has no mission, their life has no purpose. And that's the escape. But that doesn't make you happy, it makes you miserable, and fake endorphin hits will make you miserable in the long run. So you need to, if you can, get rid of the Xbox and actually create mission in your life. And that can be what I found great sort of purpose in business, you know, in PT and Complete Commando. But it's the thing I like about this business is it's outward focused. It's focused on others rather than me and me building my own kingdom. You know, we help a lot of young guys get to where they want to be, which is great. Get to speak into their lives and build them up and challenge them physically, mentally, spiritually sometimes. And on our weekends, what we try to do is really give them a challenge. You know, so we might do like we'll teach them, you know, that in itself, learning new skills and going out and developing your map reading and navigation, being out in, you know, inclement weather, etc. That in itself is creating resilience. But then at one point in the weekend, on the prep weekends, we'll normally do some sort of determination test, which is, you know, we'll really push them hard for an hour or so. Really teach them like what happens to you, what happens in your mind when you are at the brink, or not at the brink, but when you are pushed hard and close to your limits. Because off of that, everyone can get off that thrashing. I've had many thrashings, but they can go. They might not tell anyone. No one else might know, but they might know. I wimped out there. I backed off there. I didn't push as hard there. When the instructor wasn't looking, or, you know, whoever's run the weekends wasn't looking, I stopped my press ups, or I get down on my belly or whatever, or I faked how hurt I was or whatever. Or they'll go, I dug out blind, I did everything to the best of my abilities, I pushed as hard as I could, I'm happy with that. And they can come away and they can know what sort of state they're in. Did I wimp out when it got really, really tough, or did I push and lean into the toughness? I've done both, I'll be completely honest. Over the years I've done both, in business, in life, in training, in competitions, etc. And it's a horrible feeling when you know you've done it. I've been in comps where I've wimped or backed off because I didn't want to be completely deep in the pain cave, and in boxing fights as well. My first boxing fight ever, I backed out the pain cave, got beaten. Horrible feeling, and I said to myself I'd never allow that to happen again. If I lose, I lose because the lad was better than me. Not because he was fitter than me, not because he wanted it more than me. Like, that does not happen. And yeah, those times are good for young men to discover themselves. Do I wimp out when it gets hard, or do I dig in and push hard? And then they can start developing that. And I've said it many times, the mind is a muscle that must continually be worked. If you don't work the mind, you lose that resilience. And you need to build it up by putting yourself in hard challenges. That's how you build your mind up. No one's people are more naturally resilient than others, but no one's naturally super resilient. It has to be built. So you see a lot of kids who come from bad families, bad backgrounds. They're very resilient people many times because they've had to build it up. Whereas people who've had everything put on a plate for them are spoiled little brats. And then if something goes slightly wrong or whatever, they crumble. I've seen that many times with people. But it's also important as well that, like in training, you don't just put 150 kilos on a bench press and expect to do it because it will break you. And if you put too much stress on someone's mind quickly, they'll get broken. So you have to build up slowly, adapt to new stresses mentally. And again, we can go back to you know, people who have been brought up in rough families. Sometimes it's too much to handle, and they get broken young, and it's a shame. But yeah, a couple of things to reflect on, guys, and hope it's helpful. Love to hear your feedback and stuff. It's great when people. I'm pretty set in a lot of the things I think. You know, I think a lot when I'm driving. I think a lot when I'm out in nature and when I'm training and stuff like that. The things I say are normally well thought out. You know, I try not to just throw stuff off the cuff. I'll think something in my mind and then I'll just chew on it and I'll work it out, and I might share it with a few friends and get a bit of arguments back and forward, trying to work out actually genuinely what I believe. And then when I feel good about something, that's when I share it. But it's good to hear people's feedback, comments and stuff, and if it helps them or if they disagree. And you know, I'd like to think I'm strong enough to not care too much about abusive comments and things like that. Sometimes, I'll be honest, if you get a bad comment, you do want to go and find the guy's address out and punch his head in. But I've never done it yet. Depends what they said. Yeah. Anyway, cool. Hope you like this video, and yeah, have a good day. Remember, make your life more difficult if you need to. If you're a wimp, make it more difficult. Cheers, guys.